These are my top 5 moments from Arrow Season 3, Episode 8, The Brave and the Bold Flash crossover. Number 5, so when they're about to have their fight again at the end of the episode, and Barry Arrow's like, oh, I bet you can't defeat me, and Barry goes, you mean if you don't shoot me in the back? And Oliver goes, you've got to get over that, Barry. Was super adorable, and I like, more so than when they're at each other's throats and kind of bickering, is when they're just having like this awesome bromance and just like bickering back and forth in a nice, like, happy, playful way. Really bummed out though that we didn't get to see the fight and they kind of cut it off, which was total BS, but I already said in my Flash review about who would really win if Barry was fully powered. Number 4. I really loved that Oliver just, like, he couldn't stand Cisco, and you could see, like, Oliver, like, twitching anytime Cisco opened his mouth. And then I also liked, on the same token, how Roy, like, instantly kind of, like, broed up to him and was like, I like this guy, especially when, Cisco goes, oh, red's better anyways, green's not really in, and Roy's like, yeah, so that was really cute, and just the different dynamics between the characters. Which, speaking of that, I like how much Caitlin has really, like, warmed up, and she's a lot more friendly of a person and a lot more likable of a character now. Number 3. I really like how they show the differences between the characters. I mean, Arrow in the first place is supposed to be a much more darker, grittier show, and The Flash is supposed to be a lot more happier. And I think they really show that when, they have The Flash, go to a scene and he cleans everyone up and he has them all tied up, and then the Arrow gets there and then he's like, what are you... I've been waiting for you, and he's just so happy and goofy and lighthearted, and that's really the Barry Allen from the comics, for the most part, except for his future self when he gets a little cray-cray. But, for the most part, he's such a light-hearted, happy person, and the Arrow is more of a grittier person. Sometimes in the comics he's not as gritty, but for the most part they really are playing to the different strengths of the characters, and it shows really well, especially in the crossovers. And I think that this was also highlighted, when they're at the bar and they're talking and Caitlin and Cisco are going, it seems more fantasy-like to us because we're dealing with metahumans. We're not dealing like the everyday psychos with, guns and thugs and stuff. And so it does seem like more of a fantasy to them. And, I mean, that really is a big difference between the two shows. Number 2. The whole Arrow Cave thing was absolutely just way wicked. And, when Roy goes, since when did we start selling admissions to the Arrow Cave? And Oliver's like, do you see what you started? Being mad at Felicity, which is pretty cool. And if Harley ends up naming the Arrow Cave, the Quiver, and I'm posting the comic right now so you can see it. So it's just kind of cute, and just how agitated Oliver's getting about it being called the Arrow Cave, and just a very cute scene. And number 1, when Barry is chastising Oliver and, about torturing and he doesn't want to do it, and Oliver goes, I'm sorry, Barry, I'm not as emotionally healthy as you are. That was just an adorable scene, and goes more into, I like it when they kind of quip back and forth. And I do like how finally Barry goes, my mom was murdered in front of me too, and I don't use that as an excuse to hurt people or torture people. And that's something that I think more people can learn from, because I've been around people that maybe experienced a death or whatever 10-20 years ago, and they're still using that as an excuse of why they hurt people and why they're mean and why people should act a certain way towards them. And it's like, no, dude, you need to heal and you need to move on. We've all been there, we've all experienced tragedy. We don't use that as an excuse to hurt people. And I like that Barry came out and said it, like, you can't keep, like, holding on to this and saying that this is the reason why you do those things. So those were my top 5 moments from the Brave and the Bold Flash crossover. You can write your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and connect for more geeky videos every day.